So I feel like I should like actually introduce this video. This is gonna be a reading vlog. I'm gonna be reading Bunny by Mona Awad. I know nothing about this except that it takes place in a school. It's dark academia according to Goodreads and everyone who has read it. And also it has some weird horror thriller elements and I'm really excited about it. So if you watched my previous video, you know that I've had bad experiences with dark academia. The ones that I can remember right now are The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake and These Violent Delights by Micah Nemerever. I recently read those in order to get into not necessarily dark academia, but I thought those were books that I was gonna like, but I didn't. So, oh, also The Maidens. The Maidens by Michaelides, something Michaelides. I think it's Alex, not sure. But I did not like any of these books and they're all categorized under the dark academia genre. So I have come to the conclusion that maybe I'm not that much of a dark academia fan because I haven't enjoyed these. The only book that's categorized as dark academia that I actually liked is Ace of Spades. So I just don't know if dark academia is a genre that I enjoy. This is my last attempt. Probably not, but this is my last attempt at figuring out whether or not I actually enjoy dark academia. So I actually have no idea what this book is about. I just picked it up from the library and I also have the audiobook on Libby, so I will be reading those two together. Hopefully I like it because from what I've heard, this book is really weird, really incomprehensible at times where you're like, what the fuck just happened? So I am hoping for those vibes, but in a good way, you know, not in a bad way. I want it to actually be weird but good. I have been wanting to read this for a while now and I kind of pushed it off again because of the whole bad experience with dark academia. So hopefully Bunny serves as a redemption for The Maidens, The Atlas 6, and These Violent Delights. I've never done a reading vlog before, so this should be interesting. I'm excited. Labial rubbing? Quick little update, I'm currently 2 chapters in and so far it's interesting. The writing is really vivid. I like that. I like it so far. Not much to say about it. I'm still listening to it via audiobook, but I may or may not ditch it. Not sure yet. We'll see. Who the fuck is Diego? Yo, who the fuck is Diego? Okay, hi. I finished part 1 yesterday and honestly, I'm confused. I'm confused. There's a lot of things that I just don't understand. I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand why the bunnies are doing what they're doing. I don't understand why the main character is going along with it. I don't understand why she kind of wants to go along with it but also doesn't want to go along with it but then still goes along with it. There's just a lot of things that I just don't understand. I'm not understanding it. It's kind of crazy the amount of times I've read a book where I'm like almost halfway or even over halfway and I still don't. I don't understand the purpose. I don't understand what the author's trying to say. I'm currently 40% into the book and I still have no idea what the fuck I'm supposed to think about it. Like, what are we doing here, guys? So far, like, a lot of weird shit has happened. The ending of chapter 11 was fucking crazy. I really liked that. but I don't understand why it happened. Like, what is going on? Like, it's so confusing. I'm not gonna say that I'm enjoying myself, but you know, it's not like super boring. Like, I still want to know what's going on. I still want to know why they're doing what they're doing, if we're even gonna get an answer to that at some point. 40% into it, usually this is the time where I'm like, okay, I should know what's happening. I should know why I'm reading what I'm reading. And it's interesting because I'm not too worried about that, because there are 2 books that I read earlier this year where I had no clue where it was going. I had no clue what the purpose of writing it was. 65 and 75% into the books, I still had no idea what the fuck was going on, but they ended up being some of my favorite books of the year. So I'm not gonna give up on this. Who knows, by the time I finish this book, I might get it, and it might be the best thing ever. So I'm gonna keep reading, and hopefully some things start making sense, or even if they don't make sense, I start kind of enjoying it for what it is. I'll see you for the next update, whenever that is.
Holds it up, even though I know she has everything on it, even though we already have our food. I'd like some deep fried hare heart, please, she said to the waitress. Some what? I'd like a green tea.
Another quick update, I just finished part 2. I am still very confused. It's a very odd story with a very odd set of characters that are all indiscernible from one another. I know for a group of them that's kind of the point, for them to be indistinguishable, but for the rest of them I really don't know what their purpose is or if they have a purpose. But I think if you're a character taking up space and having lines, I think you should have a purpose. And I don't really understand what it's trying to say. I don't really understand the point of it. Maybe I'm thinking about it too much, but it's just so weird that I need to think about it. It's like that Black Mirror episode. You know that Black Mirror episode where that lady wakes up one day and then the entire town is like staring at her and then starts chasing her? Like, a bunch of crazy shit happens. It's been a few years, so I don't remember exactly what happened, but that episode, that freaky weird ass episode where everyone in town was kind of like against her. So it's kind of feeling like this, except with a slower pace and at a much smaller scale, and also seemingly with little to no purpose so far, or at least none that I can see right now. The one thing that I like, and I'm using that very lightly, is the friendship between Ava and Samantha. I think that's the only saving grace of this book right now. That's the only thing I care about really so far, even though I don't really care about Ava and Samantha as individuals. I like the friendship that they have. It's the only thing that I can attach myself to. I'm also really enjoying the writing. It fits the tone of the book really well. So this line, it's not over the top, but I like how it was structured. It says, "I'm not included in the faux magical maternal embrace of her gaze." I don't know, something about seeing someone's gaze as an embrace, I like that. Oh, another one is the legs of her voice wide open. I feel like that's such a funny but clever way of basically telling me this character is horny. I don't know. I enjoyed that. These are just a few sentences that I really like, but other than that, I fear I may have lost the plot. I fear there may not even be a plot, and I don't know how to feel about that. Yeah, so this is my update right before I dive into part 3, and hopefully next update I'll be done with this book. Hello! So, we have come to the conclusion of this vlog. I finished Bunny by Mona Awad, and we're gonna talk about it. So if you didn't know, Bunny is about this girl, Samantha, who's a graduate student. She is pursuing further education on writing. She is in a group with 4 other girls who are also writers, but the only problem is these 4 girls are super close in an almost creepy way. So Samantha feels very left out because they are the only other students in the class, and even though she judges them and doesn't really want to be friends with them, she does feel that loneliness and she does feel that pressure being the only person in the class who doesn't have any friends, while all the other people in the class are friends with each other. And this is basically about Samantha finally getting to interact with these girls in a concrete and substantial way. It's definitely not something you would expect. Anytime you'll hear anyone talk about this book, they always mention how confusing it is and how you basically don't know what the fuck is going on. And this confusion sparks two reactions. Either you love what you're not getting or you absolutely hate it. Me, I'm kind of in the middle. My thoughts during the vlog remain the same. It's still a very confusing and odd story, but I don't think that it really did anything substantial, at least for me, from my perspective. As I said before, the only thing that was really getting me to pick this book back up each time is the friendship between Samantha and Ava, her only friend in this area that she lives in. And honestly, I don't really care for them that much, but out of everything that was going on in this book, that is the number one thing that I was invested in. In the back of the book, it says The Secret History meets Jennifer's Body, and I don't know about that. I haven't read The Secret History, but I have seen Jennifer's Body, which is high cinema, by the way. Yeah, I don't know about this comparison. Honestly, I feel like people just throw things out there without really, I don't know. What about this says Jennifer's Body, aside from the gore that goes on? I mean, Jennifer's Body is pretty comprehensive. This book, though, not so much. I will say, on top of the friendship, the writing is also really good. I think I mentioned it during the vlog. There are some parts that kind of got annoying, especially when the bunnies would talk. It did take a little while to get used to it, but yeah, again, this book is meant to confuse, but other than that, I don't see anything else that it brings to the table. I mean, obviously we could talk about elitism and privilege and murder, which are like the core themes of dark academia in general, but I feel like there was something missing. Like, there's nothing about this book that screams more than a 3 stars for me. I've seen people rate this 4 stars, even 4.5, and I'm like, damn, what makes this a 4 stars? But also, what makes this a 4.5? Sometimes I really wish I could just switch brains with people just to see their perspective and how they interpreted certain things, especially with books that a lot of people seem to enjoy that I don't. I just don't see the vision. Overall, I don't think I hated this book. I think part 3 is really the shining star. I wish we had gotten a bit deeper with the bunnies. You know, they were just a bunch of random recycled, I don't know how to explain this. It's so hard to talk about without spoiling anything. Something about it just seems a little unsatisfying. It's a solid 3 stars. I don't think that I would have missed out on anything if I hadn't read this book, and I don't think I gained anything reading it either, but I don't necessarily regret reading it. I mean, I've read my fair share of weird, strange books this year, so I guess we're adding it to the pile. Anyway, if you read Bunny, please let me know your thoughts on it, especially if you liked it. Also, let me know if you're planning on reading it. I think I would have liked more out of the characters. I mentioned this before. A lot of the side characters are indiscernible from each other, and I didn't really see the point of them being here other than being here. Jonah is confusing. I guess he was there to be a chauffeur. The lion, also, his part in the story just didn't seem substantial. I feel like if they had taken his character away, it wouldn't have made a difference. You know, they could have mentioned him in passing and he would still have the same impact that he did in this book. Something that I did like about the bunnies, I really liked the deconstruction in part 3. I think that's what I really liked in part 3, the fact that they were finally getting to the nitty-gritty of everything, but it also was still confusing. This book is so hard to talk about because I don't want to spoil anything. Speaking of the characters, even Ava also, I feel like we could have gone a little deeper with her character. I feel like she was bordering on being one-dimensional. Honestly, pretty stagnant the way that her character operates. I read the synopsis of this book and it was going into way too many details. Like, you done told me everything that happened. This is why I avoid reading synopses. They just give way too much information. I don't need to know all of that. I think I'm gonna wrap this up because I really don't have much else to say about this book. It was an interesting experience, I guess that's all I can say. It lands at a solid 3 stars for me. I don't see why I should give it more. I think if you want a really trippy, weird, confusing story, this book is for you. Also, if you like gore, like descriptive gore, It's got it, and I think it was done really well. And if you don't like those types of things, definitely skip this book. As per the beginning of this reading vlog, I was reading this book to see if Dark Academia and me can mend our relationship, because after reading The Atlas Six and The Maidens and These Violent Delights, I just feel like Dark Academia might not be my thing, you know? It's just not something that I vibe with. I don't think we mesh well together, which is unfortunate because the aesthetic is great for the most part. So reading this book, in conclusion, because it was a solid 3 stars and I did like everything that was going on in part 3, I'm gonna keep going on this quest, on this journey to find a book that is pure Dark Academia that I actually like and find good and worth the hype and worth the praise. Also, I was watching the Book Leo's Dark Academia guide. That is such a good video, by the way, and I realized Vampire Academy is kind of Dark Academia. That was like my first introduction to Dark Academia. I mean, there was murder in academic settings, elitism, but yeah, I really liked Vampire Academy. That was one of my favorite series when I was growing up. It's interesting to me. Vampire Academy was really good though. Maybe it's the vampire aspect that I really liked, but I also did like the academic setting, so I don't know. But anyways, in conclusion, I don't think I'm gonna be writing off Dark Academia anytime soon. I'm gonna keep trying and trying to find a book that I can like without wanting to roll my eyes every single page. I think that's the main problem. It's like, I know it's a criticism of elitism and pretentiousness, but the ego of some of these characters, it's never endearing enough for me. I don't even enjoy hating it. It's just an annoying experience to be in the head of those characters, and that's exactly how I felt reading These Violent Delights by Micah Nemirever. Paul, the main character, was just such an exhausting character to be in the head of. If I could beat him up, I probably would. If I saw him on the street, I would deck him immediately, because my god, what a fucking brat. Yeah, the Dark Academia experience hasn't been great, obviously. Even movies that have the Dark Academia aesthetic and vibe, I don't really like that much, because I'm like, you're doing too much. What is the point of this? Maybe it's just me. For example, I watched Kill Your Darlings, which is based on a true story starring, what's his name? Daniel Radcliffe. Did I care for the characters? No. Did I care for the story? No. Did I like the aesthetic? Sure. Did I see the point of everything that was going down? Maybe. Did I care for the point? No. If I'm not even able to enjoy Dark Academia movies, I really do think that I just don't like this genre. I don't like the characters that it produces. I don't like the way that they go about proving their point or criticizing whatever they're trying to criticize about academia. Yeah, that's the verdict. But again, I always say that I am capable of liking anything as long as it's done to my liking. It's not over with me in Dark Academia. We're in an on and off relationship, mostly off, which is too bad. Maybe I should find, you know, instead of the intense Dark Academia, I should find like some cozy academia without the dark. Because usually it's just pretentious fucks acting like they know anything. That was it for this reading vlog. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it was entertaining. I'll see you all in another video. Bye!